Welcome to the podcast with me, Mark Tanchoco Reid, and episode 2 of Supercharged Thinking is about self-development and how to build confidence. My special guest here today is Penelope Neofytou, who is an assistant gym manager and personal trainer.
How did you get into fitness in the first place? Was there someone that introduced you, or how did it come about?
So it's funny, it's always been there, but not as something I would have a career in. I was always into sports. I was playing volleyball. I was obsessed with volleyball, in fact, when I was younger.
Nice.
I did want to become a volleyball coach for a brief amount of time, but I didn't get into it in the end.
Mm.
And I always remember I was feeling so powerful when I was playing volleyball, when I was going swimming, but mainly sports like volleyball, dancing, things like that. So I wasn't necessarily into the gym environment, lifting weights or anything like that. I was into sports. But growing older, obviously, because it's not as accessible for adults to get into sports, maybe because of work, and all these other commitments. Just started going to the gym. That was just after I finished my studies. So during my studies, I wasn't the healthiest.
Yes.
As a lot of people, you go through that phase, you're independent, and that transitioning stage. But I would say the last maybe about 7-8 years, I've really been into the gym. Lockdown as well helped, funny enough, because I was doing
interesting you say that.
Yeah.
I see a lot of people who are very stressed, especially in that time, and being isolated, and obviously everyone's going through a different thing. But to actually meet someone who says something positive came from the experience is quite rare, and something actually
refreshing,
refreshing. But I actually try and poke the bear a bit and sort of say, look, is there anything that could be of good meaning that came out of this? So tell me on that basis then, because everyone's gone through a different experience, what good did come out of that for you?
So I'm not going to lie, first obviously was the fear of the unknown as well, which is a pandemic never happened before, but we've been alive anyway. We've never experienced anything like that. So it's just the fear of what's going to happen. And I was getting into the events industry at the time, and I couldn't do that anymore because obviously no one would go to any events. Just try to control the controllables, so make a negative situation, try to make it into a positive. So what can I do with all this time I have in my hands now? Because I was into fitness already, and I was always a bit, not jealous, but I was looking at personal trainers, I was thinking, wow, this is their life. They get to do this every day with their clients and help people and train themselves more. It's amazing. Yes. I got to do that every day. Got a pair of gloves, boxing gloves, started boxing in and out of lockdowns. Muay Thai, so that's how I got really, really into fitness. And I remember I was going through a phase after lockdown again, was talking about it with a friend of mine.
Yes.
And I was just saying I'm at the dead end at the moment. I'm not sure what I should be doing with my life, with career-wise. Just doesn't feel right for me. And she said, what do you like doing more than anything? I said, well, I like going to the gym. I like Muay Thai. I like training. Well, why don't you do that? Like, you know what, I never thought about it like that, but I guess I could.
Yes, because you got a background in arts as well.
Yeah, exactly. So I was expected, I guess, to just stick with it. And which I do love art, and I do love going to exhibitions and galleries. But I think I'd rather keep it as a hobby, because sometimes when you make your hobby into a job, it just takes the fun out of it a bit. Yeah. And I just don't like being in sales in general. That's just push sales or hard sales or, it's just not for me. And I feel like at the gym, you don't have to convince people they need it. It's an investment in themselves.
Yeah, well, I can relate to that. I mean, I spent, over 12 years in sales. And I always used to say, I'm no good at sales. I'm not a natural seller.
Yeah.
And people say, that's why you're good at it, because you're not trying. And isn't that just...
pathetic,
it's indicative of life, that, isn't it? The best things are free, but also the best things are when you don't push too hard.
Yeah.
And you're not trying too hard to be something or to be seen in a certain way. I can definitely relate to that. Moving it on a bit in terms of bringing it to the confidence part. I mean, have you always been confident and outgoing?
No. And even now, there's going to be days where I wake up and I feel like I just don't want to get out of my house. I think we all have those moments. But no, as a kid especially, I was really not a confident kid. I was quite shy, if anything. hated public speaking. But nowadays, funny actually, because I teach class all the time with lots of people, but it still gets me a bit if I am to give a speech in front of a lot of people. I might get I might feel a bit.
Yeah, I mean it's common. I see a lot of people for that public speaking.
Yeah.
And it's just
the fear of being judged or saying something wrong or saying wrong.
There's so much going on. The way people are, and the people understanding what you're saying and connecting with what you're saying. There's so many different layers to it.
Yeah.
And one of the things that, if we're talking about confidence, one of the things that I really focus on is getting back to the essence of that person, who you are.
Yeah.
And almost coming off the back of don't force things. Most things, not everything. When you're running away from something and you fight or flight, then it's different. But most things, when you actually become more composed.
It's exactly, literally what you just said. I think being confident is just being happy with who you are within.
Yeah.
Feel confident with how you look on the outside, what you stand for, where you are at a specific point in your lives. It's just.
But we're mood beings as well.
Yeah.
And this is an interesting thing because I think people want to bottle up something, We want to bottle up happy emotions. We want to bottle up all those wonderful things, but they tend to be fleeting moments at times. And I think sometimes because we see, the romanticism of a film or how life should ideally be lived, we get into our minds that there's a narrative that we have to have this fairy tale story.
Yeah.
And what happens with that is when our blueprint of life doesn't meet the expectation, that chasm is then, well, what does this mean? And when you become skilled, you can then ask, well, I could be empowered by this meaning or I could be disempowered.
And it's the other thing as well, it can't be the same story for every single person, like societal standards or family expectations and all that. You can't possibly just be the same as every other being or want the same things at the exact same point in your lives or reach the specific point at a certain age as well. It's just, this is what always used to get me. Some people maybe want to do things because it's the right time or they have to, not even the right time, they just have to do it there and then. Or because parents want or teachers or society expects them to. But I think if someone's been confident within themselves, they can walk through their own path without really...
Yeah, I think there's a bit in what we're discussing. So you very much coach physicality and movement and exercise, and I'm doing a very similar thing, but with minds. But it's like I coach people to be confident. That's one of the things, increase self-esteem. But sometimes I'm not confident. Sometimes I don't have the highest self-esteem. So that humanistic side to us, I think we've just got to be very gentle on ourselves that actually it's okay to have all these feelings. Positivity was never about masking or covering something up. It was actually saying, okay, maybe something needs to change. And there's always that thing about, is it a behavioural change or is it a perceptive one? Is it something that simple? Can we reframe something and see it slightly different, seeing it a lighter way? Or if there's something that's gone wrong, okay, instead of saying, okay, let's master what's gone wrong, we actually start looking at, well, what's the opportunity here? What's that hidden message? What's the hidden message? So with that in mind, I want to ask you, so you, as you said, you started off a little bit sort of shy and not your fully confident self, maybe not even taking care of yourself, as many of us do, in those teenage years.
I feel like when you're not confident, you're kind of like punishing yourself as well for it.
There's an emotional connection there.
Like a self-destructive tendency almost.
100%. And I think a lot of people listening to this will possibly relate to that. But it's that idea of the awareness of saying, it's okay. It's
validate
okay.
our feelings. So it's okay to not be perfect. We're humans. It's just, I think for me, it's a recovery period from like, not the breakdown, but when you're feeling low, not to let that drag me down all the way and then start from the bottom again. Just a recovery period from that point onwards. Just to pick myself up faster. So you have to kind of like notice what makes you feel good, what is good for yourself. Like fitness is good, nice hobbies, being creative is also very helpful. Just make notes of all these things.
And there's an author who came out of a book, and it was a neuroscientist called Dr. Joan Rosenberg, and they measured the frequency of a thought and how long a prevailing feeling would come after it.
Mm-hmm.
And she put it down to 90 seconds.
Wow.
So, you know, and I meet people, and I can meet people like in the morning. I can do a follow-up call and say, hey, how are you? How's it all going? And they'll say, Mark, I'm having one of those days. And I'll say, whoever it is, I'll say, Penelope, it's 9 a.m. in the morning. And you're telling me you're having one of those days.
Yeah.
So it's a nice one to remember that, because it's that 90 seconds, that's 1 minute and a half. If you're having a train of thought, are you repeating it over and over again?
Mm-hmm.
Because we like familiarity, we're creatures of habit, and the mind will go there.
Yeah.
So it's like that pitter-patter of, okay. So it's okay to feel upset. It's okay to be frustrated. All those different emotions, that is absolutely fine. There's nothing wrong with that whatsoever.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it was Nietzsche that said, you know, you are the thinker of your own thoughts. So that you think, there's a space, and there's a thought.
Yeah.
And in that space, there's choice. And that choice will give you emotional freedom.
100%.
And it's just, with that as well, I mean, in terms of, and I'm putting you on the spot a little bit, sorry, but has there been something in your life that's been really pivotal for you in terms of, I've got to make a change now?
You know, even there was a friend of mine, we've been friends for a very long time now, and he just said this one simple thing to me. Because I always used to be a person to dwell on, you know, negative feelings, and just, I'm an overthinker as well, so I keep thinking about the same things.
Yes.
But if something happens, something bad happens, then I keep revisiting that moment and thinking, oh, yeah, you know, maybe this, that, the other could have gone different. But yeah, he said that one thing that I keep thinking to this day every time I'm overthinking. Every situation is as deep and as bad as you want to make it.
Mm-hmm.
Literally, that's that. So every time I think of that, it's like, you're right. So I shouldn't really be putting so much effort into this one negative feeling or this one negative thought. We just move on. And it all starts with a simple step as well.
Yes.
And just because I'm into Muay Thai and the martial arts scene and all that, something that Rocky Balboa says in these movies, it's one step at a time, one punch at a time, one round at a time. And it's just breaking it down so nicely. So it's just not all overwhelming. You know, you have to do everything now. Yes. Just break things down. Take things off the list, and just move on like that.
Yes, I think that's a good way to sort of gain control or steady the ship, so to speak, is to do small things consistently well, rather than being overwhelmed by the big things.
Yeah.
So going on to the martial arts, do you want to tell me more about that? Because I'm really interested. So
So I've always wanted to do martial arts, just never happened as a little kid. It's just not big in Cyprus for girls to do martial arts. Obviously, a lot of them go nowadays, which is great. But it just wasn't the same. When I was younger, I was going ballet since I was 3, and swimming, we live on an island, you know, things like that. Volleyball came later into the picture, which I absolutely love anyway. My love for volleyball. Just, great. Was empowered by women in movies, fighting movies. I always wanted to see more of that. So I think it's something I always wanted to dive into. And just because of lockdown again, I think I took a step back and I saw what else did I want to do in my life that I haven't done already. And that will be the first thing I do as soon as we're able to. And that was like boxing, martial arts, something. And as it happened, Muay Thai with Master Pani. He's also super good. He's a great, amazing coach.
We'll put the link in the bio.
Definitely. Anyone interested in Muay Thai, he's the man.
Fantastic.
He's so inspirational. He's taught me everything I know so far. I'm Khan level 5, so Khans are the different levels in Muay Thai. Like you get the belts in Taekwondo. I keep going for we keep training.
And have you got a bigger vision? Is there something? Do you want to do something with that, or is that just again? Is it a hobby or?
Well, I do. I teach box fitness in a Pure Gym. I did have a class which I've paused for the time being, just because of the whole transition with the new role and the new responsibilities. But hopefully from September I'll carry on with that, and we'll see. I'm just gonna take it easy and see where this takes me. Yeah,
absolutely.
But definitely enjoy it. Definitely. Yeah.
Fantastic.
Makes me feel alive.
I know you said that your friend gave you that really salient or that advice that really stuck in your mind? I mean, in terms of role models, have you had strong role models in your life? And if so, are you happy to share who those role models are?
I wouldn't say one role model. I'm the kind of person that takes the positives from different people. I've always kind of wanted to shape my own person. I never wanted to be a copy of anyone. Not even a copy. I've always said I want to do things my way. Yes. And when I started at the gym, before I started teaching classes, and I was shadowing other trainers, I was saying, I'm going to get tips from you guys, but I just want to teach them my way. I want to do everything my way, anyway. I would say just different people. Like, my dad was always into fitness. He was a footballer. And to this day, every single day he works out. He goes to the beach for runs. He swims every single day, no fail. Obviously, that's a great.
You've got it in the genes.
Yeah.
You've got the bug. Oh, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
I mean, for me, and my self-esteem and confidence, I know if I serve myself first, if I go to the gym or whatever activity it is, that's my time. And the discipline that comes with that.
Yeah.
And it's very individual. Everyone's on a different journey and different goals and so forth. But I suppose if I'm helping someone make a breakthrough, a transformation, maybe change their life in some way, increase confidence, get over a phobia, break through those limiting beliefs, I've got to be at my A, bring my A game.
It's motivation for you as well, isn't it? Yeah. And
I think it's so important to practice what you preach or what you teach if you're
absolutely
in that position to do so. And it's one of these difficult things, isn't it? And I suppose this crosses over into that sort of conflicts in self with selling. Because let's just call it a widget. We're selling a widget, whether that's a service or a product, and you get indoctrined into a way of thinking about this product. And you agitate it to sell it. That tends to be one of the ways you can do it anyway. I'm sure there's many other ways, and you talk about the solutions and all those sorts of things and the benefits of it. But life isn't that way.
Yeah.
And I think what's happened with a lot of social media and all the goods that comes with it as well, mind you, is that we have this distorted view of reality. Because most things, if you've got the money, you can buy it. But you can't buy happiness. You can get surgery and liposuction and all these wonderful aesthetics now, and they're very popular.
Yeah.
But, there's a book actually called Psycho-Cybernetics, and it talks about people who've had surgery, but emotionally they still feel the same, even though the outside has changed.
Yeah.
And I think that's a really good thing when we're talking about fitness and confidence, is it's all an inside job. But what I find in my line of work is people tend to generalize. So this is like coming from neuro-linguistic program, generalizing, distorting or deleting in their mind. So you can have a one-off bad time event. It could be something that was said to you once. You're not good enough. You're ugly. You're stupid. Your version of that. I've had something similar to me. And it becomes a consistent message.
Yeah.
So consistent that it becomes a belief, and then it becomes part of who you are as your identity. And so when you look for that confirmation bias, then you say, oh, well, if I'm not good at something, now, oh, well, I've heard that before.
Yeah, so it must be true.
Must be true.
Yeah.
And I'm here to say, actually, it's never too late for you to reset, to change the meaning, to feel empowered, to feel confident. The reason why I brought up role models is because we can borrow from that bigger mastermind, that resource out there. We don't have to be Elon Musk. We don't have to be all these people on cutting edge things, regardless of what you think of them.
Yeah.
It's about that power of that focus in yourself and your mind and knowing yourself. The certainty, I think you touched on it, control what you can control. The certainty is in self. And people miss it.
Yeah.
So in effect, what we're doing, for example, is here's a remote control for my emotions, and I want love from you. I want care from you. I want someone to approve of me. I want someone to make me laugh right now. And when they don't, I'm going to point the finger and say it's your fault. Take no ownership or responsibility for it.
Yes.
and then missing the key point that I've got to work on me. This is what I call self-mastery, and Napoleon Hill talks about it in his early works. Self-mastery is key, and self-mastery will lead you very early on to having a discipline for self-awareness.
100%, yeah.
And I know when I do exercise, it's great because of the antidepressant properties, the anti-stress, releasing those good feel endorphins and so forth. That obviously that's going to make you feel good.
So I think there's no person ever who's done a nice workout and didn't feel good afterwards or regretted a good workout. No one ever.
Yes.
You just know you're going to go there. Even it's no motivation. And as a lot of people point out now, this is discipline. It's just what I was saying, like when I wake up in the morning, I have to do workout before my shift. I just don't think about it. I don't go into that process of thinking, oh, shall I or shall I not?
Yes.
Just some cold water in my face, dress up, have everything ready from the day before, meal prep, your clothes, everything ready.
Yes.
Don't even think about it, just go for it.
Yeah.
And once you're done, you'll be so
I mean, in James Clear's book, Atomic Habits, he talks very much about preparing the night before, have it all ready to go, have your trainers out, have your clothes. You know, it reminds me of being a young boy and playing football and actually getting so excited, I'd almost go to sleep in the kit, you know. Wow, match day tomorrow, you know. I love all that. What's interesting about this is when people seem to, I'm saying that intentionally, when people seem to lack motivation to work out or go to the gym, I think there's a real, not for everyone, but for a select few, there's this self-conscious part of themselves that says, I'm going to be judged here. And it becomes a real barrier to starting a healthy habit. Yeah. Now, we can talk about different literature and different expert opinions on how many hours you've got to do until you become expert or get a habit. Whether that's 100 days or more, who knows. But I think this is so critical. If someone is listening to this and they're saying, I want to move and get moving, get my body moving, I want to feel better about myself, and they're saying, it's too hard, I'm worried. I'm not familiar with that environment. Other people are in the gym. But the thing is, people are in the gym, they only look that way, the ones that are fit, because they go to the gym all the time. Because they're every day. And even them, it's not easy, right? They don't really look about. This is what I'm telling my clients as well. They're not comfortable with working out at certain areas at the gym, especially free weights. Once we're in that area, like, look around, no one cares. Honestly, it's just everyone's here to work on themselves. 100%. But I get the fear, I get the whole overwhelming. It's like a daunting experience getting that section. To be honest, it's just because there's so much information out there now. There's even social media. There's overflown with like influencers and people going to the gym and what to do, what not to do. There's just a lot of information. It's overwhelming, even for trainers. When you look at other personal trainers, oh my God, they're doing so well. Oh, they're so much fitter, blah, 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 this, that, the other. It's just, again, as the quote I said before, it starts with a simple step. So break it down. One step at a time, one punch at a time, one round at a time. But I'm telling people when they join the gym and they tell me they feel intimidated, just start small. You see that section there, the studio, we do classes. Just join. You don't even have to think of what you do. The trainer will teach you. And you meet other people, so automatically you familiarize yourself with the gym environment and with other people. Yeah, I definitely feel like there's a massive community there. Yeah, 100%. You know, the gym is my second family. And it's great. It is a great place, and lots of characters, and everyone's got a different story, a different goal. But it doesn't matter if you trying to lose 1 kilo, 100 kilos, or get stronger, or come back from injury or illness. It's the same for everyone. Is that we've got 24 hours in a day. Are you going to commit to it? And you're going to stick to it? And, there's a quote that says the difference between an optimist and a pessimist is the pessimist will look at what they have to do to get to what they want. An optimist always already sees themselves there. And that deductive way of thinking is how I coach. Okay? I don't really mind what condition you're in at this moment. See it there first. Feel it first. Feel like you've got it now. Because you're bigger than your body. You're a bigger spirit than this casing. Okay? And someone will have different beliefs, and that's rightfully so, and they can argue against that. But you're more than that. Okay? So sometimes it's not how good you are, it's how good you want to be. That's where that self-development comes from, that need to improve. I'm working on goals, and the whole point is the goal stretches me.
Yeah.
I wouldn't give a goal to myself now, for example, that I've already got, because it makes no sense. Right?
Mm-hmm.
So if it's for your body or your mind or wealth or whatever you want to create, then you've got to go there in the mind. But it's meant to stretch you. That's growth.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the self-development's funny because it goes through different, like, buzzwords, right? It goes through all sorts of things, you know, the ocean thinking to the, you know, there's big on like, happiness. Now it's anti-anxiety and all these other things. And it's just like growth, progress. There's nothing better than saying it's me versus me and I'm improving every day on myself. And some days you will feel like you're not.
Yeah. But
those days are your best days because they're challenging you because you're better than you think you are. And I love that. I love that. That's the human, that's the human part that AI will never take away.
Yeah.
AI will get to a point where it's so accurate where we'll never make a mistake. But we're better than AI because we make mistakes.
We've got consciousness, we've got the feelings, we've got the emotions, we've got the energy. It's just,
being naive, human contact connection, empathy. The nuances, empathy, understanding.
Yeah. It's great you said growth, actually. It's the word I used in New Year's as my resolution. This year I'm exploring growth in all aspects, muscle growth, mental growth, everything, just financials, everything. I just wanted to explore.
Fantastic.
That specific word this year. So
So off the back of that, I'm going to ask you, and it's quite personal, so you don't have to answer. Values. If you could pick one or two of your top values in life, what do you think they'd be?
Top ones, I would say honesty. And that's within yourself as well.
Yeah, wow, big.
Because sometimes we just try to trick ourselves. I don't want to go gym because I'm not feeling great, you know. You're just trying to convince yourself that. But whatever other reason. So honestly, I think with others as well. Just be honest, be kind.
Honesty and kindness.
Because also there's this fine line between honesty and being brutal. Other people becoming rude. As I say a lot of times, it's not what you say, it's how you say it. To someone, you can totally offend someone by saying the same thing. And you can change their lives by literally saying the same thing again. So it's being honest both ways. But yes, just how you communicate that with other people. And to yourself as well, you have to be kind. It's good to be strict sometimes. Like, woke up today, I'm not with it today. I'm not going to go gym. It's just trying to convince yourself, but you're not being honest with yourself. Like, listen to your body at the same time, be honest. If you need a break, of course, listen to your body. Just take a break, maybe mentally, physically even. But set a goal and stick to it. Be honest consistently.
Yes.
I would say,
I agree. I like the fact that you brought up that communication with yourself. I think that's so overlooked. We're all trying to connect with each other, and we always overlook the simplest of connections, which is really, actually, funny enough, bringing you back to what you value. Values consistently drive behaviour. And so to actually say, okay, this is what I value. But it's interesting just to ask it. So if you're listening to this or watching this, I want you to ask yourself, what are my two biggest values? Because values can change, but generally, you tend to sort of, level out with what you like and what's priority to you. But I think the big thing about this is that, we're not always articulating it.
Yeah.
When you articulate, you bring about this other awareness of it. It's going on in the background, but making it foreground is a great way to start. If you're feeling a bit lost at the moment, for example, if you're feeling internal conflict, and I ask you, are you being kind right now? Penelope, are you? Are you being, honest with yourself right now? And you say, you know what, Mark, I'm not. This is an example because you are. But in this example,
I think I am. I know research just before, like something to wake up, you're like, today.
For the example. Right. But in the context of being eloquent in communication is so important as well. But knowing as well, if someone is having an issue with you, are you going to learn by telling them what you already know? Or are you going to learn by listening? And are you learning about yourself? Are you Are they teaching you to be more disciplined in the fact that you're going to hold back this time, that you're going to be patient, that you're going to be compassionate? Okay, sometimes we fight fire with fire, right? Sometimes we put a bit more fuel on there rather than douse the flames.
That's it.
And I find that there's a weird part to truth where people will get upset if it lives in their biggest fear. Because you're touching a nerve.
Exactly, yeah. Trigger.
And we don't like to admit it though, that's the thing. Because then that shows us, it shows everyone our cards and that's
because we're humans and we have emotions and
absolutely.
Yeah.
But what we've got to remember, and I think it's clear, is that we're all individual and we're all entitled to an opinion, but to listen to someone's opinion, whether you agree with it or not, is the utmost respect, not just to them, but to yourself.
Absolutely. Can't emphasize that enough.
It's
just with all these free speech and social media, which is great, but again, we can pick the positives from a situation, but also it's good to be honest with ourselves and others and see the negatives as well.
Yeah.
Everyone has an opinion on things, but again, listen, have your opinion, but just don't try to.
And I think that the values, they're very, very closely linked to needs. And most people, again, I'm not going to put you on this, but if I ask you what your needs are, most people will find that quite a tricky question.
Yeah.
Now, I can tell you I meet my needs every day, but if I did not know that and I was just going out having conversations, let's just say I didn't agree with your point of view, for me to meet my needs in that moment, it might be to argue with you to show you that I'm right because it meets my needs for significance, for example, or I'm showing you my certainty because I'm actually going to be quite angry right now, or whatever it may be. But the thing is, it's all in the background.
Yeah.
And we're all different. We didn't wake up, or we weren't born with this intense need to fight or to, it was one of these things, a few things
as well,
Yeah. Everyone's life has been shaped slightly differently. We've all got that narrative that we tell ourselves. But how are we going to get better? How are we going to increase the confidence? So that in mind, with your honesty and your caring going into the future, where do you see yourself, with what you're doing now? What's the bigger picture for you, do you think?
So right now, because I, for the first time, feel like I'm going to the right direction, and I'm at the right industry, doing the right thing, I want to believe that I'll just climb up the ladder and yes, I'm in management, fitness industry, 100%. Would be great if it's pure gym, because I do like, the values and the team and how they operate and all that. But fitness industry for sure, managerial role, and I would like to think that I would have helped a lot of other people.
Yes.
By the time I get to that point.
That's fantastic.
But definitely, that's the industry.
Well,
sure.
I've seen you at the gym and working with your clients, and I can see how meticulous and how in the zone you are, and it's a real credit to Pure Gym, that's for sure. I think it's great. What you're doing is great.
Thank you.
Yeah, wish you all the best.
I feel happy for the first time.
Fantastic.
As a job, it feels right.
That's brilliant. That's brilliant. I think another thing that's coming out of this as well, which is just sort of flowing through, is this theme of having a good support network. Some people they live in their own house by themselves, or the opposite. They have a lot of people around them, but they're just living in each other's spaces and not connecting in a quality level. So if you are struggling at the moment, and this is going out to anyone listening, if you are struggling at the moment, there are some really good people that can help. There's some good supportive therapies, and there's some good people like personal trainers who can actually help you get into that environment. And you'll be surprised at how many people are out there for the right reasons. They're passionate about what they want to do. And, I get people come to me and it's outside my remit. It's not for me. I refer them on, and that's fine. And that's the duty of care that I have. This isn't about,
it's about them, isn't it?
Recruitment. As you said, we're not selling here. This is very much about fit. Does it fit? Are you a good client for me? Am I the right coach for you? So it's the same with you and your clients. And it's the same with your friends to a certain degree.
Of course.
It's finding those people that are going to bring the best out in you. And there's that lovely poem which says, you know, people in your life for reasons, seasons and lifetimes. And it's working out, am I having a season that I have with someone and that's the end of that? And that's cool, let's move on. Is it because we're connected in some way? Or is it like someone that's really, you know, your souls are entwined, your family, or someone that you're going to have a long life relationship with? And I love that because it illustrates it so well. And in my mind anyway, that we've got to be flexible in our approach. We're all going to be different.
An open mind, keep an open mind.
Be curious. Be curious about all the pleasurable things that you can have in your life. You know, people are always in their worries and their fears, and that will keep you safe. But in the terms of living your best life, that's that imaginative process, that's that creativity. That's saying, you know what if I can do this, and how can I make it better? People don't ask that enough. Something goes wrong and they'll say, why is this happening? Okay, and to be all philosophical, we put in a rubbish answer.
Because I see all these facades that people put out sometimes when they've got into their, you know, final destination, let's say, and they're happy, but they haven't seen the struggles. Because we never post about that stuff. So someone thinks, oh my God, I'm struggling, this shouldn't be happening. I'm not doing this right. And they're just...
The late Jim Rohn says, don't wish things outside of yourself are better, wish that you were better. But not just wish, it has to go further than that. We've got to plan it. When you see a client, you've got a schedule, you know, or you try and make it as watertight as possible for success. So there's a difference between showing up, and actually doing the work.
Exactly. It doesn't matter when you discover what your purpose is. You just have to do it because it's your life at the end of the day. Gotta wake up and feel happy that you're going to do that job. And with, you know, like with energy and passion and the drive that you need, and also, you know, helping other people. I think that's